and I never thought I'd be the type of person who would hide behind my own kitchen door, holding back tears while listening to my family laugh about my business fantasies in the next room. I'm 31 years old, a tech entrepreneur from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My life wasn't always so complicated. I always thought I had everything under control and always acted tough, so I wouldn't show weakness to my parents. Today, I have a revolutionary software company that I built from scratch, without help from my father and mother. I always liked doing things on my own and succeeding on my own merit without my father's help, unlike my brother, who always relied on daddy's success. But I never expected to hear something more frightening from my own family. But that night, when I heard my brother Miguel's voice saying, "Isabella will never build anything bigger than my company because she's stupid and I'm smarter than her," I felt as if the ground had opened up beneath my feet. And it wasn't just my brother's words that saddened me. It was what my mother, Carmen, said next. "She's a fool, and I'm ashamed of her because she only does stupid things." My stomach churned. I had already noticed signs of my family's preference for my older brother before. Small things like dad always asking about Miguel's day first at dinner, or mom being proud of his achievements at the family company, while barely acknowledging my own successes. But that was new and hurt me deeply. And for the first time, I felt alone with no one on my side. I leaned my back against the kitchen wall, my hands trembling as I tried to process what I was hearing. Through the crack in the door, I could see them sitting around our old wooden dining table, the same one where I used to do homework as a child. Dreaming of making them proud someday, Dad was sitting in his chair. With that satisfied smile he normally reserved for talking about business, Mom was nodding affirmatively as she always did when he spoke. And Miguel, Miguel was laughing. "The poor thing thinks she's some kind of tech genius," he said, shaking his head. "Dad, you should see her little office downtown. It's pathetic. Compared to what we've built over the years." What they didn't know, what I had kept secret for 6 months, was that my little office had just been sold for $940 million. The number still seemed unreal in my head, even after signing the papers, shaking hands with the buyers, and seeing my bank account transform into something that would make the family's traditional business look like pocket change. But hearing them talk about me as if I were a deluded failure made my chest tighten, as if I couldn't breathe. 3 years earlier, I had left the family business to build something of my own. I wanted to prove I could win without relying on the Santos surname or my father's connections in Pittsburgh's traditional business circle. Every dawn spent studying, every rejected proposal, every small victory, I had earned it alone, hoping that one day they would see me as more than just the difficult daughter who questioned traditions. The conversation in the dining room continued, each word cutting deeper. "Remember when she said she was going to revolutionize the software industry?" said my father, with that mocking tone he used whenever he talked about my dreams. "I told Roberto Martinez, there at the country club, that my daughter thinks she's the next Steve Jobs." He laughed so hard he almost choked on his whiskey. "Well, at least Miguel knows how to handle real business," Mom added. "He understands what family loyalty is. Isabella was always too stubborn." I slid down the wall until I was sitting on the cold tile floor, tears finally falling. The kitchen smelled of the chicken Mom had made for dinner, the same recipe Grandma used to make, full of memories of family gatherings that used to be warm and loving. But now even that comfort seemed poisoned by what I was hearing. You know what the funniest part is? Miguel's voice got louder, more confident. "She actually thinks she's better than us just because she went to college for computer science. But look where that got her. Probably struggling to pay rent on that office while I'm here helping Dad expand our real business." I wanted to break down that door and tell the truth. Show the bank statements, the newspaper articles about the acquisition, the congratulatory emails from investors and tech industry leaders from across the country. I wanted to see their expressions when they realized that the failed daughter had just achieved something none of them had ever dreamed of. But something held me back. Maybe it was the way they spoke, not just with disdain, but with cruelty. As if they really enjoyed the idea of seeing me struggle. As if my pain was entertainment for them. I thought about all the times I tried to share my excitement with them about the business. When I got my first big client, Dad changed the subject to Miguel's quarterly reports. When I hired my first employees, Mom asked why I couldn't just work at a stable company, like a normal person. When I moved to a bigger office, they didn't even bother to visit. But what hurt most was remembering the little girl I used to be, sitting at that same dining table, listening to my father tell stories about how he built his business from scratch. Back then, his eyes would light up, talking about taking risks, working hard, and proving others wrong. I thought I was following in his footsteps. I thought he would be proud. The sound of chairs scraping across the floor warned me they were getting up. I quickly wiped my eyes and stood up, pretending to be busy at the sink as they passed through. "The kitchen?" "Good night, Isabella," Miguel said, without even looking at me. Try not to lose sleep over those little problems with your business. Dad and Mom followed him toward the stairs without saying a word. I stayed there, alone in the kitchen, for a long time after they went to sleep, staring at my reflection in the dark glass above the sink. The woman looking back at me had built something incredible but felt smaller than she had ever felt in her life. The success that should have made me feel powerful actually seemed empty and meaningless, when the people I loved most saw me as a joke. That night, I made a decision that would change everything. If my family couldn't see my worth when I was at my peak, I needed to know what they would really think of me when I seemed to be failing. I needed to test them in a way that would reveal what was in their hearts. I would pretend I was in serious financial trouble to see who would really be by my side when everything seemed to be falling apart. What I would discover in the following weeks would shock me more than I ever imagined. The next morning, still with my face swollen from crying, I entered my father's office. At first I wondered if he would ask if I was okay, but he didn't even say good morning, so I said to him, "Dad, I need to ask you something," trying to keep my voice steady. My hands were sweating, and I wiped them on my jeans. "My business is going through a difficult phase. I need your help." My father looked at me, and for a second I thought I saw concern in his eyes, and that deep down he cared about me, and that last night he had just been speaking without thinking. Asterisk, what kind of help? He asked, leaning back in his leather chair. "I need $5,000, just a loan. I can pay you back in a few months when things get better." The concern disappeared from his face so fast it was like watching a door slam shut. Isabella, he said, shaking his head. "This is exactly what I was afraid of when you left our company. You don't know how to manage money." My chest got tight. "Dad, it's just a temporary problem. Every business goes through this." "No, my business doesn't go through this because I know what I'm doing." He stood up and walked to the window. "Your brother Miguel has never asked me for money. Not once. You know why? Because he's responsible." There it was again. "Miguel, everything always came back to my perfect brother. I just need a small loan. Dad, 5,000 isn't much for you." He turned around and his face was cold, colder than I'd ever seen it. "The answer is no. And you know why? Because giving you money would be like throwing it away. You need to learn responsibility, Isabella. Maybe now you'll understand that you should have stayed with the family business." I felt my face getting hot. "So you won't help your own daughter. I'm helping you by teaching you a lesson." I left his office feeling sick to my stomach, but I needed to keep testing them. Next was my mother. I found Carmen in the kitchen, making lunch like always. Everything organized and perfect, just like she wanted her life to be. "Mom, can we talk?" She looked up from cutting vegetables. "Of course, sweetheart. What's wrong?" I sat down at the same table where I'd heard them destroying me the night before. "I'm having problems with my business. Dad said he can't help me, but maybe you could talk to him." Carmen put down her knife and cleaned her hands. For a moment, I thought she might actually care. "Isabella, your father and I talked about this last night." My blood went cold. "They talked about me again. We think this might be the best thing that could happen to you." "What do you mean?" She sat across from me, her voice soft but her words like ice. "Honey, you've been living in a fantasy for 3 years. Maybe this failure will help you see that your place is here with the family." "My place, yes, your place, is here helping your father and Miguel with the real business, not playing with computers, playing like everything I built was just a game." "Mom, I thought you believed in me." She reached over and patted my hand like I was a stupid child. "I believe in what's best for you, and what's best is accepting that you tried and it didn't work. There's no shame in coming home." But there was shame in her voice when she said it. I left feeling even smaller than before. Now for Miguel, I found him in the garage working on his car, the classic Mustang that Dad bought him for his birthday. The same year I got a card with $50. "Hey, little sister," he said without looking up. "Dad told me about your money problems." "Of course he did. I was wondering if you could help me out. Just a small loan." Miguel looked up and smiled. Not a nice smile. The kind that means someone's about to hurt you. "Isabella, you know I love you, right?" I nodded, even though my stomach was telling me this was going to be bad. "That's why I have to be honest. Lending you money would be like helping an addict. You're addicted to this idea that you can run a business, but you're clearly not good at it." "Miguel, I just need help getting through this." "No. What you need is to accept reality. Some people are just better at business than others. It's not your fault. Then what am I good at?" He wiped his hands, thinking, "You're good with computers. Maybe you could get a job at a tech company, working for someone who actually knows business, working for someone else. After building my own empire, Dad's company could use someone for computer stuff," he continued. "I could put in a good word. It wouldn't pay much, but it would be stable." Stable. The word my family used when they meant small and safe? Think about it, Isabella. You could come home, work with family, and stop stressing about this entrepreneur stuff that's not working for you. I walked away feeling empty inside. 3 family members, 3 chances for someone to care about me when I was down, 3 complete failures, but I wasn't done testing them yet. I thought the worst was over, but I was wrong. Completely wrong. 2 weeks after my family refused to help me, I was having coffee downtown when I heard something that made my blood run cold. "Yeah, Isabella Santos is going bankrupt," said a voice. From the table behind me, my friend Miguel told me the whole story, said she was always too stubborn to listen to good advice. I turned around slowly. It was James Peterson, a local businessman who had always been friendly to me at events. Now, he was talking about my fake failure as if it were the best gossip he'd heard all week. "Really?" said his friend. "I always thought she was doing well with that tech thing." Nah. Miguel said she was just pretending. Living off credit cards and loans, he saw it coming from a mile away. Miguel, my own brother, was spreading lies about me around town. I got up and walked out of that coffee shop with my hands shaking. Not from sadness this time, from pure anger. That evening, I called Miguel directly. "Hey Miguel, it's me." "Oh, hey Isabella. How are you holding up?" His voice was so fake, so concerned, like he actually cared. "I heard some people talking about my business problems around town today. Did you tell anyone about what's going on?" There was a pause. A long pause. "Well, I mean, you can't expect me to lie if people ask me direct questions." "What do you mean? Come on, Isabella. People in this town talk. When someone asks me how my sister's business is doing, I'm not going to pretend everything's fine when it's obviously not." My stomach dropped. "So you've been telling people I'm failing?" "I've been telling people the truth. That you're going through a rough time and maybe it's time to consider other options." "Other options like giving up?" "Miguel, these are my professional contacts. My reputation? Your reputation," he laughed. Actually laughed. "Isabella, your reputation was already damaged when you started asking family for money. People talk about stuff like that. You're my brother. You're supposed to protect me, not gossip about me. I'm trying to help you by being realistic. Maybe if more people are honest about your situation, you'll finally wake up and come back home where you belong." I hung up on him. My own brother was sabotaging me on purpose. But it got worse. The next day, I got a call from my biggest former client, TechFlow Solutions. "Isabella, this is Mark from TechFlow. We need to talk." My heart started racing. "Sure, Mark. What's up?" "We heard some concerning rumors about your company's financial problems. Someone contacted us saying you might not be able to handle your contracts." "Someone contacted them? Someone who told you that?" "I can't say exactly, but it was someone who claimed to be close to your family. They seemed really worried about your situation and thought we should know." I wanted to throw my phone across the room. My family wasn't just refusing to help. They were actively trying to destroy what they thought was left of my business. "Mark, I can assure you that's not accurate. Look, Isabella, we like working with you, but we can't take risks with unreliable vendors. Maybe we should put our partnership on hold until you get things sorted out." After I hung up, I sat in my apartment staring at the wall. Someone from my family had called my client to sabotage me. I knew it had to be Miguel. That weekend there was a family barbecue at my parents' house. I used to love these gatherings, but now I dreaded walking through that door. "Isabella," my Aunt Rosa called out when she saw me. "Miguel told us about your business troubles." "I'm so sorry, honey." "Great. Now the whole extended family knew." "It's okay, Aunt Rosa. I'm working through it." Well, you know what they say sometimes. God closes one door to open another. Maybe this is a sign you should try something different. A sign. Like my life's work failing with some divine message. I found a quiet corner of the backyard, watching my family laugh and talk like nothing had happened, like they hadn't spent 2 weeks destroying my reputation around town. Miguel was by the grill with Dad, both looking relaxed and happy. Everyone seemed so normal, so content. Then I heard Miguel's voice carry across the yard. "Yeah, Isabella's. Finally learning that business isn't for everyone. Sometimes you have to fail to figure out what you're actually good at." He was talking to my Uncle Carlos, using my fake problems as entertainment for the family. "What do you think she'll do now?" Uncle Carlos asked. "Hopefully come back to work for Dad. She's good with computers. We could use someone to update our systems. She just needs to accept that running her own business was never realistic. Never realistic. Like everything I'd accomplished was just luck." I walked over to them. "Hey Miguel, can I talk to you for a minute?" "Sure sis, what's up?" I pulled him away from the others, toward the back of the yard. "Did you call my client TechFlow Solutions?" His face didn't change, but his eyes got harder. "What are you talking about?" Someone from my family called them and said I was financially unstable. Was it you? Miguel looked around, then stepped closer to me. Isabella, you're being paranoid. Why would I do something like that? Because you want me to fail? Because you're scared that if I succeed, Dad might actually be proud of me for once. That's ridiculous, is it? Because it seems like ever since I left the family business, you've been waiting for me to fail, so you could say, I told you so. Miguel's fake concern disappeared completely. His voice got cold. You know what, Isabella? Maybe I did make a few calls. Maybe I did tell some people the truth about your situation. And you know why? I waited. Because someone needs to save you from yourself. You're so stubborn, so convinced you're some kind of business genius that you can't see reality. You're embarrassing our family with this fantasy. Embarrassing the family? Yes. Do you know what it's like when people ask about my sister's tech company? Do you know how awkward it is to explain that you left a stable family business to go play entrepreneur? Play entrepreneur? Like building a company was just a game. So you decided to sabotage me? I decided to help you face facts before you lose everything. And if that means calling a few of your clients to warn them about working with someone who's clearly in over her head, then so be it. I stared at my brother and realized I was seeing him clearly for the first time. This wasn't love or concern. This was cruelty disguised as help. Miguel, you're my brother. Exactly. I'm your brother. And brothers don't let sisters make fools of themselves. But he wasn't protecting me. He was trying to destroy me. I walked away from that barbecue feeling like I'd lost my family completely. They didn't just prefer Miguel. They were actively working to tear me down. That night, alone in my apartment, I made a decision. If my family wanted to play games, I could play games too. It was time to show them exactly what they'd lost when they chose to bet against me. The knock on my door came at 8 in the morning, 3 days after the barbecue disaster. I wasn't expecting anyone, and honestly, I didn't want to see anyone from my family ever again. But when I opened the door, it wasn't Miguel or my parents standing there. It was Daniel Rodriguez, my neighbor from across the hall. We'd lived in the same building for 2 years, always saying hello in the hallway, but never really talking. Hey, Isabella, he said, holding a brown paper bag. I hope I'm not bothering you, but I brought you some breakfast. I stared at him, confused. Breakfast? Yeah, I noticed you haven't been yourself lately. You look ... tired. I thought maybe you could use some homemade food. Nobody had offered me homemade food in weeks. My own family wouldn't even lend me money, but this guy I barely knew was bringing me breakfast. That's really sweet, Daniel, but you don't have to. I know I don't have to. I want to. He smiled, and it was the first genuine smile I'd seen in forever. My grandmother always said food helps everything feel a little better. I let him in and we sat at my small kitchen table. The bag had fresh bread, scrambled eggs still warm, and coffee that smelled amazing. Daniel, this is incredible. Thank you. My pleasure. I actually cook for a living. I'm a chef at Romano's downtown. Really? I had no idea. Yeah. Most people don't know their neighbors anymore, but I've always noticed you coming and going, always looking so determined and focused. You seem like someone who works really hard. It felt weird having someone notice me in a good way. My family only noticed me to criticize me. I do work hard, maybe too hard lately. Want to talk about it? Something about Daniel made me feel safe. Maybe it was because he didn't know anything about my family drama, or because he was offering help without wanting anything back. My business is going through some problems, I said, sticking to my fake story and my family. Let's just say, they're not being very supportive. Daniel's face got serious. That's rough. Family should be the first ones to help when you're struggling. You'd think so. Well, I don't know much about business, but I know about hard times. If you ever need someone to talk to, or if you need anything at all, I'm right across the hall. For the first time in weeks, I felt like someone actually cared about me as a person. The next day, I had to go to the doctor for a routine checkup I'd been putting off. I'd been getting headaches lately, probably from all the stress of dealing with my family. How have you been feeling, Isabella? Dr. Mitchell asked as he looked at my chart. Tired, stressed, some headaches. Any other symptoms? Dizziness, nausea, sometimes? But I think it's just stress from work stuff. Dr. Mitchell frowned and made some notes. Let's run some tests, just to be safe. Stress can cause a lot of problems, but I want to make sure there's nothing else going on. Tests? Is that really necessary? Better safe than sorry? We'll do some blood work and a brain scan. Probably nothing, but your symptoms could indicate several different things. A brain scan sounded scary, but I agreed. At least someone was taking my problems seriously, even if they were just medical problems. That evening, I was back at my apartment when I heard voices in the hallway. Loud voices. I opened my door to see what was happening. My mother was standing outside Daniel's. door? Talking to him? She looked angry. Mom, what are you doing here? Carmen turned around, her face red. Isabella, I came to check on you, and this man said you'd been having breakfast together. I was just explaining to him that you don't need charity from strangers. My stomach dropped. Nice, Isabella, you're a Santos. We don't take handouts from people we barely know. It's embarrassing. Daniel looked confused and hurt. I'm sorry, I was just trying to help. I thought you thought wrong, Carmen interrupted. My daughter doesn't need help from neighbors. She has family. Family. The same family that refused to lend me $5,000? Mom, please stop. Daniel is my friend. Carmen laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. Isabella, you don't even know this man. He's probably taking advantage of your situation. Taking advantage? How? Men like him see a vulnerable woman and think they can swoop in and play hero. Wake up, Isabella. Nobody helps for free. I looked at Daniel's face and saw genuine hurt there. This wasn't someone trying to take advantage. This was someone who'd shown me more kindness in 2 days than my family had in months. Mom, you need to leave. Excuse me, you need to leave. Daniel hasn't done anything wrong. He's been nothing but kind to me, which is more than I can say for some people. Carmen's eyes went cold. Don't you dare compare your family to some stranger. We're trying to help you learn responsibility by refusing to help me when I asked. By teaching you that actions have consequences, something this man clearly doesn't understand. Daniel stepped forward. Ma'am, I'm not trying to cause any problems. I just brought Isabella some food because she looked like she was having a hard time. And who asked you to do that? Who gave you permission to interfere in our family business? Mom, stop it. You're being rude. I'm being protective. This is exactly the kind of poor judgment that got you into this business mess in the first place. That was it. I'd had enough. Get out. What? Get out of my building? Get out of my life? I'm tired of you treating me like a child who can't make her own decisions. Carmen's mouth opened in shock. Isabella Santos, you do not speak to your mother that way. My mother would support me when I'm struggling. My mother wouldn't call my clients to sabotage my business. My mother wouldn't spread gossip about me around town. We never— Yes, you did. Miguel admitted it. You've all been working to destroy what you think is left of my business, and now you're attacking the one person who's actually been kind to me? Carmen looked between me and Daniel, her face getting redder. Fine. But when this man breaks your heart or steals your money, don't come crying to us. You made your choice. She stormed off toward the elevator, leaving me shaking in the hallway. Daniel touched my arm gently. Isabella, are you okay? I wasn't okay. I was the opposite of okay. But for some reason, having Daniel there made it feel manageable. I'm sorry about that. My family is ... complicated. You don't need to apologize. I've seen complicated families before, have you? My parents weren't great either. Sometimes the people who are supposed to love you the most are the ones who hurt you the worst. I looked at this man, really looked at him, and realized he understood something my family never would. He understood what it felt like to be hurt by the people who should protect you. Daniel, thank you. For the breakfast. For being kind. For not running away when my crazy mother showed up. I'm not going anywhere, Isabella. You seem like someone worth knowing. Someone worth knowing. When was the last time anyone in my family had made me feel like that? That night, I got a call from Dr. Mitchell's office. Isabella, we need you too. Come back in tomorrow. There's something on your brain scan that we need to discuss. My blood went cold. Something. What kind of something? It's better if we talk in person. Can you come in first thing in the morning? I hung up the phone with my hands shaking. Something on my brain scan. That couldn't be good. I thought about calling my family, but after what happened with my mother and Daniel, I couldn't bear the thought of them telling me I was being dramatic or making things up. Instead, I knocked on Daniel's door. Hey, he said when he opened it, everything okay? I just got a call from my doctor. They found something on a brain scan and want to see me tomorrow. Daniel's face got serious immediately. Do you want me to drive you? You don't have to do that. I know I don't have to, but you shouldn't go alone. Here was someone I'd known for 3 days, offering to help me with something scary, while my family was too busy sabotaging me to care about my health. Daniel, why are you being so nice to me? He was quiet for a moment, then smiled softly. Honestly, I've had a crush on you since the day you moved in. But even if I didn't, you're a good person going through a hard time. Everyone deserves someone in their corner. Someone in their corner. I couldn't remember the last time I'd felt like anyone was in my corner. Okay, I said. I'd like that. I'd like you to drive me. As I went to sleep that night, I realized something had changed. For the first time in weeks, I didn't feel completely alone. My family had abandoned me, but maybe family wasn't just about blood. Maybe family was about who showed up when you needed them most. The doctor's office felt like a morgue when Dr. Mitchell sat down across from me. Daniel squeezed my hand as the doctor opened my file. Isabella, the scan showed some unusual activity in your brain. We need to do more tests, but I want to be honest with you, this could be serious. My world tilted sideways. How serious? It's too early to say for sure, but there are some indicators that concern me. I'm referring you to a specialist immediately. Daniel's grip on my hand got tighter. What kind of specialist? A neurologist, someone who deals with brain conditions. Brain conditions. The words echoed in my head like a death sentence. I need to call my family, I said, reaching for my phone. Isabella, Daniel said quietly. Are you sure that's a good idea? After yesterday, I looked at him. This man who barely knew me but was holding my hand while I got scary medical news. Then I thought about my family, who couldn't even be bothered to help me when I asked for $5,000, but they were still my family. They had to care about this, right? I called my father first. Dad, I'm at the doctor's office. They found something on a brain scan and I need to see a specialist. There was a pause. What kind of something? They don't know yet, but Dad, I'm scared. Isabella, you're probably just stressed from all this business nonsense. Doctors always try to scare people into unnecessary tests. Unnecessary tests, like my health was some kind of scam. Dad, this is serious. Look, if you're really worried, go see the specialist, but don't get all dramatic about it. You know how you can be, how I can be. Like being scared about brain problems was just me being emotional. I hung up and called my mother. Mom, I just came from the doctor. They found something concerning on a brain scan. Oh, Isabella, what now? What now? Like this was just another inconvenience I was creating for her. Mom, I might have a serious brain condition. Honey, you've been under a lot of stress lately. You're probably just having anxiety attacks. Maybe if you stopped worrying so much about this failing business and came home, your health would improve. Everything came back to the business. Even my health problems were somehow about my failed company. This isn't anxiety, Mom. This is a real medical issue. Well, what do you want me to do about it? I can't fix your brain, Isabella. She couldn't fix my brain, but she could at least pretend to care. I hung up and stared at my phone. Daniel was watching me with concern. They don't believe you, do they? They think I'm being dramatic. Isabella, you just got potentially devastating medical news. Being scared isn't dramatic. It's human. Human. Something my family seemed to forget I was, but I had to try one more time. Maybe Miguel would be different. Maybe when faced with real medical problems, he'd remember he was my brother. Miguel, it's me. I just found out I might have a serious brain condition. I need to see a specialist. Brain condition. Isabella, are you sure you're not just having panic attacks from all the stress about your business? Miguel, they did a brain scan. They saw something. Look, sis, I know you're going through a lot right now, but maybe this is just your body telling you to slow down and accept that the entrepreneurship thing isn't working out. Even my potential brain disease was somehow about my business choices. Miguel, I'm scared. You're always scared of something, Isabella. Remember when you thought you had cancer because you found a freckle? Remember when you thought you were going blind because you needed glasses? This is different, is it? Or are you just looking for another reason to avoid dealing with the real problems in your life? I hung up on him. All three of them. All three members of my family had basically told me I was making it up or overreacting. I looked at Daniel, who was still holding my hand. I can't believe them. Unfortunately, I can. Some people are so focused on being right that they can't see when someone they love is hurting. But they're my family. Family isn't just about blood, Isabella. Family is about who shows up for you. That afternoon, I went home to wait for the specialist appointment, but I couldn't sit still. My head was pounding and I felt dizzy and nauseous. I decided to go to my parents' house. Maybe if they saw how sick I was feeling, they'd take this seriously. I found them all in the living room, Mom, Dad, and Miguel. They were looking at something on Dad's laptop and laughing. What's so funny? I asked. They looked up and their laughter died. Oh, Isabella, Mom said. We were just looking at some pictures from the barbecue last weekend. Pictures of what? Miguel closed the laptop. Nothing important. But I caught a glimpse of the screen before he closed it. It was a photo of me from the barbecue, but someone had written something underneath it, something that looked like a joke. Show me. Isabella, it's nothing. Show me the picture, Miguel. Dad sighed. It's just family humor, honey. Don't get upset, family humor. About me. Miguel reluctantly opened the laptop again. There was a photo of me looking sad and tired at the barbecue, and underneath someone had written, "When you realize playing entrepreneur isn't a real job." They had made a meme out of my pain. You made fun of me online. It's just a joke, Isabella, Miguel said. We shared it in the family group chat. Everyone thought it was funny. Everyone. Your cousins, your aunts and uncles? Come on, it's not that bad. My entire extended family was laughing at a meme about my failure. Failure that wasn't even real, but they were enjoying it anyway. I came here to tell you I'm scared about this brain scan, I said, my voice shaking. I came here because I needed my family to support me. And we told you not to worry about it, Dad said. What more do you want? I want you to care. I want you to act like it matters to you whether I live or die. Don't be so dramatic, Mom said. You're not dying. How do you know? Did you go to medical school? Did you see my brain scan? Isabella, calm down, Miguel said. Getting all worked up isn't going to help anything. Getting worked up. Miguel, I might have a brain tumor and you're telling me to calm down? You don't know that you have a brain tumor? You're just assuming the worst, like you always do. Like, I always do. Like being scared about scary medical news was some personality flaw. I felt dizzy again, but this time it was worse. The room started spinning and I had to grab the back of a chair to keep from falling. Isabella? Dad's voice sounded far away. I don't feel good, I managed to say. Right before everything went black, I woke up on my parents' couch with Dad kneeling next to me. What happened? You fainted. We called 911, but you woke up before they got here. We should still go to the hospital, Miguel said, and for a second I thought he actually cared. No, Mom said firmly. She's fine now. She just got herself all worked up and made herself sick. This is exactly what we're talking about. She creates drama wherever she goes. Creates drama. I had fainted, possibly from a serious brain condition, and my mother thought I was creating drama. I want to go home, I said, trying to sit up. We'll drive you, Dad offered. No, I'll call Daniel. Daniel. Mom's voice got sharp. That neighbor. Isabella, you barely know him. I know him well enough to know he won't make memes about my problems or tell me I'm faking brain scans. I called Daniel and he was there in 10 minutes. He helped me to his car while my family watched from the doorway. Are you okay? He asked as we drove away. No, I'm not okay. My family thinks I'm making up my health problems for attention. That's insane. Welcome to my life. That evening, Daniel made me soup and sat with me while I tried to process everything that had happened. The brain scan, my family's reactions, fainting, the meme. Isabella, can I ask you something? Sure. Have they always treated you this way? I thought about it. Really thought about it. Yeah, I guess they have. I just never noticed how bad it was until I needed them and they weren't there. Well, I'm here. And I'm not going anywhere. As I fell asleep that night, I realized something had fundamentally changed. I was done pretending my family's love was worth fighting for. I was done making excuses for people who celebrated my pain. Tomorrow, I was going to start fighting for myself instead. The specialist's office felt cold and sterile when Dr. Sarah Chen delivered the news that changed everything. Isabella, I'm going to be direct with you. You have a rare brain condition called arteriovenous malformation. Without immediate treatment, you have maybe days, possibly weeks. The words hit me like a physical blow. Daniel's hand found mine immediately. What kind of treatment? Daniel asked when I couldn't speak. Carlos Oliveira has saved dozens of patients with this exact condition. Brazil, days to live. The room was spinning again. I called my father from the parking lot. Dad, I just saw the specialist. I have a rare brain condition. I might die if I don't get immediate treatment. Silence. Dad, Isabella, are you sure this doctor isn't just trying to scare you into expensive procedures? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Dad, I'm dying. Don't be so dramatic. Get a second opinion, a second opinion. My daughter might die and he wanted me to shop around. I hung up and called Miguel. Miguel, the doctor says I have days to live without treatment. I need to go to Brazil for surgery. Brazil, Isabella, that sounds like a scam. How much is this going to cost? Look, if you're really sick, go to a hospital here. Don't fall for some foreign doctor scam. He hung up on me. Daniel was watching my face as I made the calls. They don't believe you. They think I'm making it up. Even when you're literally dying. Even then. Isabella, your father told me about this Brazil nonsense. You need to stop this attention-seeking behavior right now. Mom, I'm not seeking attention. I'm trying to save my life. Honey, if you were really dying, you'd be in a hospital, not planning trips to Brazil. The specialist here said my best chance is in Brazil. What specialist? Some doctor you found online. The neurologist Dr. Mitchell referred me to. She hung up. I sat in my apartment staring at my phone. I was facing death and my family thought I was lying about it. But Daniel was different. Isabella, if this doctor in Brazil can save you, we're going. Tonight if we have to. You think I'm letting you go through this alone? 2 days later, we were on a plane to São Paulo. I had used some of my hidden fortune to arrange everything. The flights, the hospital, the treatment. Daniel took time off work without hesitation. The treatment was brutal. 3 weeks of procedures, medications that made me sicker before they made me better, and constant fear that it might not work. But Dr. Oliveira was a miracle worker. Your condition is completely cured, he told me on our last day. You can go home and live a normal, healthy life. Home. The word felt strange now. When we got back to Pittsburgh, I made a decision. It was time to stop pretending about my financial situation. I called a press conference. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to announce that my company, Santos Tech Solutions, was acquired 6 months ago for $940 million. The room erupted. Reporters started shouting questions. Camera flashes went crazy. Furthermore, I recently recovered from a life-threatening brain condition, and I want to thank the one person who stood by me through everything, Daniel Rodriguez, who is now my fiancé. Was how my family was probably watching this on the news right now. An hour later, my phone started ringing. Isabella, oh my God, it was my mother crying. We had no idea, we thought you were lying about being sick. Isabella, we need to talk. We made some mistakes. Dad, I almost died and you told me I was being dramatic. You were so busy celebrating what you thought was my failure that you couldn't see I was actually dying. Miguel was the last to call. Isabella, I'm so sorry. I had no idea you were really sick, or that your business was so successful. You had no idea because you never listened to me. You were too busy sabotaging what you thought was left of my company. Can we start over? Can we fix this? I looked at Daniel, who was holding my hand and had never once doubted me. Miguel, I'm getting married to someone who loves me for who I am. I'm alive because someone cared enough to help me find treatment, and I'm successful beyond anything this family ever imagined. So what does that mean for us? It means you get to choose. You can be part of my life on my terms, treating me with respect, or you can keep living in your world where I'm the family failure. Isabella, please, we love you. No, you love the idea of me when it's convenient. Real love shows up when things get hard. 3 months later, Daniel and I had a small wedding. My family was there, but things were different now. They were careful around me. Any of them? It was Rosa, the woman who had worked for my family for years and had been the only one to show me real concern when I was sick. I just wish your family had seen it sooner. As Daniel and I danced at our reception, I realized something important. I had spent my whole life trying to earn love from people who were determined not to give it. But real love, the kind Daniel showed me, the kind Rosa had always shown me, that love didn't have to be earned. It was freely given, no conditions attached. My family could choose to be part of my new life or not.